Hi guys, this is jjlockhART back again this week with a new video. I decided this week to just do a quick sketch. This is just my usual little Moleskin, nothing fancy sketchbook that I just like to doodle in sometimes. So I decided to just share the way I sort of sketch. I don't always sketch the same thing. I don't also always sketch in the same sketchbook. Sometimes it varies. Sometimes I'll just sketch on a quick sheet of paper, nothing fancy. Sometimes I'll sketch with my daughter. She's only 3 years old, but she likes to draw. And so sometimes I'll sketch stuff out for her to color. But for this one, I was attempting to sort of try something a little bit different. I decided to try and sketch maybe an older woman. I wouldn't say like old, but just maybe a little more mature. And I also wanted to attempt a different angle. I usually sketch either the front of the face or the other side of the face. I don't usually sketch the right side of the figure's face showing. I usually sketch the right side of the left side of the figure's face showing. And I guess it's just because I'm personally a right-hander, and so it's easier for me to sketch in that direction. So I decided to attempt to do the other direction, or just try and sketch that a little bit more, just to get a little more practice, so that I'm a little bit more comfortable sketching both sides of the face in either direction. I also went for more of a to the side and downward angle, and so since the angle is not one that I usually select to draw, I thought it would be good to practice. And again, like I said, I wanted to maybe try a little bit more of a mature face, maybe try a couple of things in order to make the figure look a little more mature. And so I first started sketching out with a red COL-ERASE pencil, and then I started to better define my lines a little bit better with the blue mechanical pencil. And then I'm just also creating some waves for her hair. That's another thing that I like to practice sketching out. And it doesn't have to be perfect, it's just a sketchbook. It's the best way to really just practice, but I like to practice doing hair as well, just to get a little bit, just to see what it can do. I know natural hair isn't as voluminous, or doesn't have as much form, but I feel more interesting to draw hair that way than just flat or down or a slight curve. I guess I exaggerate the hair a little bit more. And just playing around with different shapes in the hair, trying to figure out what will lay best or frame her face a little bit better. And I decided to add some hoop earrings just to add that same undulated shape mimicked from her hair. And then I'm always practicing, I guess, a different or a more simple way of drawing flowers. I just enjoy flowers in a lot of my artwork, and sometimes I just don't want to just sit there and meticulously draw all the petals and everything. So what I do is sometimes I find ways to sort of simplify the rose or flower shapes, and so that's what those circles are on the bottom. And you'll see later when I define it a little bit better with my brush pen, the way that I sort of make these quick flowers. And I'm just using a PENTEL brush pen in just regular black. And I like when I'm sketching, I really enjoy using the brush pen to ink, because it's very quick and easy to use, and I can easily vary the thickness, whether I want it thin or thick lines, and it has more of a fluid motion. It's easier to do curves, and also I like when there isn't as much ink in certain areas and it sort of gets fuzzy or flared out. I really enjoy the look of that. And so I usually, when I'm sketching, if I decide to ink it, I usually use my brush pen. I'm just making the quick rose shapes. And I just gave her like a collar of flowers. And I'm just adding a little bit more detail, a little more shadow and definition with a micron pen, and that's in a 0.2, so it's very thin. And again, I'm not trying to be perfect with my sketch. In fact, I'm just trying to be real loose and just try new things, sort of experiment, because that's what your sketchbook is for. It's just to draw, also to unwind. I usually sketch in the evenings after I come home from my day job. I like to just unwind and sketch for a little bit before I have before I start on other projects like at home or other art projects for my freelance. But sketching is a good way to just sort of practice, try new things, and just unwind, and that's what I really enjoy. And I'm just erasing out some of the red just so that her face looks a little bit whiter. And then I'm just adding a couple more lines in the hair to give it a little more definition. Adding a little bit of shading. And that's it for today's, I guess for this week's art video. And thank you so much for watching me sketch. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.